Ariel Helwani post-fight at UFC on Fox 9 alongside Zach Makovsky, who just picked up his very first UFC win against veteran Scott Jorgensen tonight. And Zach, you've come a long way. Just won inside the octagon for the first time. You fought November 22nd. I mean, how surreal is all this?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Everything's happened so fast, you know. From fighting November 22nd, coming home, Thanksgiving, getting the call the next week, and then just like everything that goes along with fighting for the UFC, just signing with them, along with preparing for the fight and the paperwork involved in that, and just everything. It was crazy and overwhelming at first, to be honest, but you know, of course, it's the opportunity that I've been waiting for, so I was more than happy to do it.
How did you not let the emotions get the best of you?
Oh, I don't know if I would say they didn't. You know, I mean, I put pressure on myself to fight the best I can, no matter what the stage is. So, you know, I always kind of feel the same pressure, no matter what the fight. But just being out here was just fun. It was very fun for me, so thrilled to be here.
What kind of shape were you in when you got the call?
Oh, you know, I was in great shape. I just fought 5 rounds in high altitude in Denver, so, you know, I knew I was in good shape. You know, I had a couple days off where I was eating for Thanksgiving, but I trained the whole time, so I was kind of eating poorly, but still training. I don't like to really take time off of training, so I knew I could fight 3 rounds, although I was much more tired in this fight than my 5-rounder in Denver. So
why is that?
I think Jorgensen's just made me physically work more. Like the fight in Denver against Manzanares, he was a slick boxer, but you know, when I grabbed him, I could take him down and control him much easier. Jorgensen's very strong, phenomenal wrestler in his own right, so it was much harder when we were clinched up.
Obviously, you had success at 135, former Bellator champion, but since going down to 125, you're 3-0. Why have you looked so good since moving to flyweight?
You know what? I don't know if it's so much the weight drop. I mean, I think, you know, as the sport evolves, people get better at cutting weight. The last couple guys I fought at 135 were just significantly bigger than me. I think probably the same reason Scott decided to drop down. So, you know, and 125 just had opened up. It wasn't an eligible division in Bellator, so you know, I felt like it was probably the right spot for me at this time with people cutting weight, and you know, I feel very, very good here. I feel like this is the weight I should be at. So.
Did you think you would get here this soon after dropping down to 125 and leaving Bellator?
I mean, I was hoping. You know, I figured like I was coming off of 2 losses, so I knew I had to get a win or 2. But I felt like my skill level put me amongst the top guys that weren't already in the UFC. So I knew, and I've talked to Sean Shelby. I knew they knew who I was. I was hoping they were interested. I had to take whatever fights I could to try to get here, and now I'm here, so whatever works.
I recall when this was announced, the hardcore fans, the journalists, they're all very happy for you, people who knew your story and you know how hard you worked to get here. What was it like when you got that call that you'd be fighting in the UFC?
Oh, it was like, you know, extreme exhilaration with then extreme nervousness at the same time. I was like, yes! And then I was like, oh my God, I'm going to fight Jorgensen in 10 days. Oh my God. So I was like overwhelming, but super excited too, so.
And what do you think of your performance? Were you happy with it? Obviously you got the win, but what do you think of it?
You know what? It's very hard for me to say. I really don't know what the fight looks like. It's kind of a blur to me. I can tell you just from how I felt in the fight, and my feelings are often very far off from what it looks like. I felt like I won the first round, and then I thought the second and third were close. So I don't know. I'll be happy to give you an honest opinion after I watch it, but it's always a blur. I never know. I usually ask my corner after every round, even if it's very one-sided, did I win that round? They're like, yeah, it's a blur, so.
Well, we know about your wrestling, but your striking really seems to have improved since Bellator. Would you agree?
Yeah. I think that's, I was going to say, a reason that I'm having more success, not just because it's 125, because I'm just kind of coming into my own. I've been really kind of expanding my training. I go up to Montreal, train at TriStar. I've been training with Crew Phil Nurse in New York, Marcelo Garcia in New York. So, you know, I've really tried to expand my horizons and learn from the best people I can that fit my style too. So I feel like everything's coming together more and more. I feel like I'm improving a lot. I'm improving in the last year more than I have in the couple of years before that. So I feel good.
Well, Fun Size had fun tonight. Great performance. Looking forward to watching your career in the UFC.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.